Hello, and welcome. 10 chords you need to know, 10 chords you must know. And today we are discussing the tritone. Now, here's the question. Why do I say that the tritone is the most important interval? But today, let me just start first by saying this. I get asked this question a lot. As you can see here in these two screenshots. Hey, Sean, can you demonstrate congregational songs with the left hand? What is the left hand supposed to be doing when the bass player is playing? And then also look at the other one. What do you do in your left hand if you're an organist? So I get asked that question a lot, and I do want to say that because we're at the end, I'm giving this training. This training is actually for my members, but this last training is going to be free for everybody who is either on YouTube or Facebook, and my members are with me live in Zoom with me right now. But I just want to show you guys, we've been doing all these chords and we've been doing a deep dive, man, into all of these. So this is our final one. So if you like what you hear today, definitely go log in the website if you're on there and check out the rest of these. You're going to learn so much and you're going to understand so much. And by the way, on YouTube, we have the video called 10 Chords Gospel Musicians Need to Know. And the last chord that we ended up with was a tritone. So that's why we are discussing the tritone today. So what about the tritone? What do we need to know about the tritone? And why do I say that the tritone is the most important interval of all of the intervals? And the reason I say that is because it's the basis of all improv, okay? This is the basis of all improv, and it also answers the question, what am I supposed to be doing with my left hand while a band or bass guitar is playing? So what I want to do is I want to examine first how the tritone works. So the tritone is the name of an interval that it's an interval where the notes are 6 half steps apart. So what I mean by that is if we take this E, for instance, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this is called the tritone. So if you're at your keyboard, just press any note, count up 6 into the next note, and then you'll get it that way. So here's the thing. The tritone, here's the meat of what we need to know. This is a C7 right here, where the notes are highlighted. That's a C, E, G, and a B flat. This is also called a C dominant chord. All right, so there are the notes there on the screen. However, if you take off the first and the fifth note and you see the notes in red, that's an E and a B flat, and that's called a tritone, and it's used in replacement of the dominant chord. It's used in replacement of the dominant chord. So in other words, instead of having this, instead of playing this, you can just play the E and the B flat. This allows the musician to play only 2 notes in the left hand where they would normally play 4 notes. For instance, let's look at this chord here. A lot of people love this chord. That sound, man, they like that sound. But this is a big chord here. When I look at this chord in my left hand, I got to play a C, E, A flat, B flat, C, E flat, A flat. It's a lot of notes. But what the tritone will do for me is allow me to only have to play 2 notes in the left hand instead of worrying about playing so many notes. And it's going to make you play faster because you won't have as many notes to play. So how does that look? Well, instead of going like this, I'm just going to play the E and the B flat. So I'm going to focus on doing what I showed you in that last chord and just focus on playing the E and the B flat with this chord. That's going to look like this. And I can play an A flat, and you see that's the same chord, but it sounds just as good because remember what I said, the tritone is just replacing the dominant chord. So instead of playing 4 notes in the left hand, I'm only playing 2 notes. And in my right hand, I can play an A flat chord inverted. And this gives me that same sound, but it's a lot less notes. So that's what I meant by the tritone, is in essence a shortcut for a dominant chord. So the question I get again, what do I play with my left hand, especially when I'm playing with a band, right? And the reason why this is a good question is because, to be honest with you, trying to play tritones the way that you're supposed to play them in the left hand requires you to make a mental shift, because it alters the view of how you're going to see the shapes of chords. Okay, it alters it because you have to change how you think about it. And when you're playing with an organist and a bass player, or even you're soloing, you actually want to avoid playing the bottom note, and that's not something that people will often tell you. So when you're playing, they won't often tell you. Like if we're playing a song, and I have this like this song like this, a voicing like this. A lot of people won't tell you you're not supposed to be playing it this way. It's a great sound, but I'm not supposed to be playing it like this. I'm not supposed to be playing it with this D flat on the bottom, because normally the bass player will be playing that. In addition, it's always muddy in this side of the keyboard anyway. So this is the reason why we learn rootless voicings, is to clean up that sound, make sure that you're sounding nice and clean and crisp. The lower sounds and notes you have in this register here, the better. Then the question is, what are the rules then? What rules am I going to use in order to use tritone? And here are the rules. The third and the seventh note are the substitute for the actual chord. And this is how all jazz and gospel musicians have approached what to play in their left hand. If anybody's wondering, what am I supposed to be playing in my left hand? What am I supposed to be playing in my left hand? It's always been the same rule in order to know what to play in your left hand. And that is, you take that chord, you find the third and the seventh note, and that is what you're going to play. So let's give an example, and let's look at this through the eyes of my 4-tier system, which I've been teaching all over YouTube lately. Okay, so because in the 4-tier system, I teach you that there are 4 types of chords that you must know very well. And in fact, I said you need to master these 4 types of chords, right? So let's look at these 4 types of chords, but let's look at what I said before, the third and seventh note. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write each of the notes. We're going to be in the key of C. I'm going to play a C half diminished. I'm going to play a C dominant. I'm going to say I'll play a C minor, and I'm going to play a C major, and I'm going to look at what we should be playing. Let's play all of these chords with only 2 notes instead of 4 notes. Okay, so that's what we're going to do here. So here, if we have a C minor 7, right, that's going to be just this. Okay, and then if I have a C, actually, it looks like I messed up there with the that should be major minor should be reversed. So this is a major 7, and then up there where you say major 7, that should be minor 7. So please make that correction there. And then C, E flat, G, and B flat, that's a C minor 7. And then C, E, G, and B flat, that's a dominant 7. And then C half diminished. Now I want you to pay attention to what actually happens. Let me get my phone here, and I'm going to circle the first and the third here. So if I'm in my major 7 here, oops, that's not right. I should be circling the second one and this. Okay, so what notes are those that you would be playing in your left hand to represent a minor chord? It looks like you'd be playing an E and a B, right? I'm sorry, major chord. The next one, which is a C minor, to play a C minor, I could play a E flat and a B flat. But look what happens when I circle the third and the seventh note of the dominant chord. I get an E and a B flat. And then at the half diminished, I get E flat and B flat. Now, why is this significant? Because all of these are perfect fifths. Look at them. E, B, E flat, B flat. And the dominant is the only one that is represented by the tritone. This is very important. This shows us something really cool. It shows us that if we're trying to play something in the left hand and you don't know what you're supposed to be playing, but if you know that what the tritone is representing, it's representing the dominant chord. That's what it's representing. Okay. So it's just a way to play. It's a way to play a dominant chord with only two notes. And what I tell people is that they need to learn pair matching. Fun fact: I a guy that when I started on YouTube, there was a guy that Kareem. I'm gonna call him out now, and he may be watching this video. But this was like 25 years ago. I was still in college at the time, and he was like, "Sean, what are you practicing over there?" I was actually practicing on the organ, and I would play like a C in the bass, and then I would try to in my left hand. I didn't know what to play, so I would always try to find out what note the tritone that would fit with the C. Right? So I would do that, and it would sound really good, and people would ask me what I was doing. But what I was doing was something called a process called pair matching. So what that means is there's different ways to do it. Like one way is if you're on the organ, it's actually kind of easy because that's how I started. So you would play the C, and that note in the blue, you'd play that with the pedal, and then in the left hand, you would play the notes in the yellow. And you would try to pair match it so that you would never have to guess about what to play when the bass guy is playing a certain note. So important that way you don't have to ask yourself, what am I supposed to be playing? If you pair match properly, you'll always know. It's the muscle memory that's important, because what you want to do is you never want to have to guess. Like if that bass player is playing a certain note at the bottom, you want to automatically go there with the two notes that you should be playing in your left hand. So you want to try to pair match. Now, if you pair match, this little symbol, this little chart actually shows you. If you're on the website, obviously I'm going to give you, I'm going to let you download this chart for free. So don't worry, I'm going to give this to you. Or you can take a screenshot if you are on Facebook or YouTube. But here's a simple way to do it. If the bass guy's playing a C, you play the E and the B flat, right? If he's playing the D flat, you play F and B. Right? If he plays a D, you play an F and C. If he plays an E flat, you play a G and D flat. And remember, we're pair matching. So what pair matching means is when the bass guy plays this E flat, you automatically want to go to these two notes. Remember, two notes in the left hand. This is left hand, right? Now look at what happens when we get up to the F sharp and we get this B flat and E. And look at the C. So let me highlight that, right? So check this out. Notice what happens when we get to this F sharp down here. It's the same notes as this one. So these notes are the same as these notes, right? And so what that does is it teaches us something that's really cool. It says that instead of 12, right? Because you got 12 notes. You have 12 notes on the piano, and you could have 12 bass notes, and each of those bass notes has a tritone associated with that bass note that you could learn. But what happens is when you get to F sharp, you notice it's the same two notes as C. So look at the chart on the right. It looks a lot simpler because what I've done here is said, and let me just kind of make sure. I'm going to actually take it off of this, and I just kind of want to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me just put this on my keyboard real quick. Okay, so if we look at, let me try to make this bigger. Okay, so if I'm trying to learn, and I want to learn a tritone, and I found out that C goes with E and B flat. So that means that if I want to go from like a chord from a C to an F, instead of playing the C and instead of playing the whole chord, I can just play the E and the B flat, simply because the chart says I can play, when the bass note says a C, I can play an E and a B flat, right? So then I can just do this, E and B flat. Right? Because I know that I'm playing a dominant chord. So I don't have to guess. Are you guys asking, what am I supposed to be playing in the left hand? It's simply just whatever the bass note should be, right? Because that chart will tell me, the chart tells me exactly what to play. And if you look at that right chart, it's actually simpler because you have two notes that will work for each tritone. Okay? So here's a tritone. This works with C. but it also works with F sharp. So if I have an F sharp chord like this, so instead of doing this, I can do that with just the same two notes, because I says that if you look at that right chart there, it says F sharp and it says E and B flat. So I can do that same move I just did, only two notes in my left hand, right? Only two notes in my left hand. See that? Ooh, like, look at that. This is an F sharp chord, but I can also use it as a C chord. So it has multiple uses. So again, you guys that are asking, what should I play in my left hand? Just ask yourself what bass note is supposed to be playing, what the bass guy is supposed to be playing. And when you know what the bass guy is supposed to be playing, you just play the two notes that you see in the chart, right? Super simple. Let's look at some examples. Let's do Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and then I'll just kind of look in. We'll just kind of go there. So let's do it in B flat. Somewhere, da, 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 da. So let me see, where do I want a dominant chord here? So, and then I'll do one here. So I'm gonna go somewhere, and then I'm gonna go dun, over the rainbow. So I'm playing an A, right? So I'm about to play an A. So it's gonna sound. So since I'm playing an A at the bottom, the question would be, Sean, what are you supposed to do with your left hand? Go back to the chart. Okay. I'm doing this I'm doing this to let you see how I'm working this out. So I'm playing an A. All right. So let me come back over here. Scribble on this thing here so you guys can see that. I'm playing an A at the bottom. I'm going to circle this one for now. All right. So you guys can see I'm going to play a D flat and a G. Okay. So that's what I'm going to play in my left hand. In my right hand, I'll just play an F chord. I'm just like literally winging this thing. Okay. So now you know what I'm supposed to play. I have two notes in the left hand. You're asking me, how do I know what to play in the left hand? I'm telling you, you only need two notes. Now I know what I'm playing because the chart says play D flat and a G. And I'm going to play an F. I just thought that F in my ear just said play an F chord. Right. So let's see how that sounds. So look at that. Look at that. There's my left hand, tritone, C sharp or D flat, G, F chord, and I'm playing since I'm in the key of F. Since I'm in my head, I'm thinking in the key of F. I just went down the F scale. So I have it. Over the rain. Da, da. So let me go on. Let me go on. Somewhere. And then over the rainbow. Da, 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 da. And then how about this? I would do here. Now, I'm going to show you that move. I'm going to show you what I did because I just wanted to think of a move real quick. So check this out. I did a lot in that movement I just did. I did a whole lot of tritones. So I did, the middle of the song goes, and then I did a little movement there. And my movement went like this. I did that, but look at what's happening in my left hand. Tritone, two notes. tritone, 2 notes. Comes up with a nice little progression. And a lot of times when you hear gospel musicians playing those progressions and you're like, "What? What's going on?" And you overcomplicate it because you're thinking that it's something big going on. But this is what I said, man. We're doing some teaching, man. I said at the beginning of this lesson that the tritone is the basis of all improv. Let's unpack this, right? Let's unpack it and see what we actually did. So so since I have a C, a D flat, and a G here, it means that I had an A in the bass. You understand what I'm saying? I had an A in the bass. And then in the next chord, since I have a F sharp and a C in my left hand as the next part, then in the bass, I have a D. Y'all see that? I mean, I'm not making, man, this thing is, I'm not even, I mean, see, this is why, look at that. And then in my next chord, so I had a tritone here. So that one here, oof, that nice chord there, I have a B and an F. F and a B, B and an F. So let's see what that is. So we have a F and a B, and we can see that that's a D flat. But in this case, because there's 2 for every chord, I was using this one. Y'all see here? There's some good teaching, man. Say good teaching in the chat, man. Y'all go ahead and say it because we need to know you guys are here, man. Listen, this stuff is some good stuff. This actually tells me, right? So what this tells me is I'm not just playing I'm not just doing stuff. There's an actual science to what I'm doing. There's a rhyme to this thing, man. It makes sense, right? Because I've showed it down. I've showed it to you. Now I want to show you something. So, let me play this. So let me do this. So instead of playing, instead of playing this, what I'm going to do, okay, appreciate it. What I'm going to do is I am going to play it, that whole phrase that I just did. Instead of playing the 2 notes, I'm going to play the whole chord just to show you that when you're playing 2 notes in the left hand, it's a substitute for the whole chord. So I could play the whole chord if I wanted. So right, I could do it like that if I wanted. That would be with the bass note there. So when we say rootless voicings, we just simply mean play the 2 notes that you're playing without the bass. You understand what I'm saying? I could play it with the bass notes, right? But I decided to play it without the bass. So that's the reason we call it rootless. So that's the whole point of tritones, right? Now, let me look at something else here. I don't have my second example, so I'm gonna probably end it soon. I'm gonna end this. All right, so check out this diagram, and I want you, if you want to screenshot this as well, if you are not on the website, go ahead and screenshot this. But if you're on the website, this is really cool because I'm gonna kind of we can go like a lot more detail about this. But here is what you'll need to know. This is really the gist of everything I'm saying. If you're trying to figure out what to play in your left hand, it's usually going to be a 4th interval, which means like F to B flat. That's a 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Or it's going to be a tritone, which is F to B, because it's tritone means 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's either a 4th, a tritone, or a 5th. That is the bulk of everything you need to know about what to play in your left hand. Fourth, tritone, fifth. Go back, unpack that thing we did again. Tritone, 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 fourth. And what this is going to show you here is that the fourth that I'm playing represents a type of chord, so that you know what's happening in your left hand. Okay, Cheryl, for those people who are on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and give them a way to the link so they can join if they want to kind of go in on our weekly teachings and things like that, just so they know that we can, that's there for them. But so the sus, let me see if I can. Oh, yeah, there we go. So fourth interval is here. This represents a sus chord. So instead of playing this big old chord like this, I could just play the fourth. Okay? And I put it in order here. So the top chord you see is the main one. Move over to the middle section there. You see where it says tritone there in the middle section, that it represents a dominant chord? It also could represent a diminished chord. It could represent a one chord. It could represent different chords. The tritone doesn't always have to represent a dominant chord, right? I could do, like, if I was doing so if I had like a kind of a move that went like that, something like that, I could do a tritone there. So it could represent a diminished chord too. But when you're starting out at this, I would recommend that you stick with the chart, because the chart, I really don't want to get in too much depth. In later teachings, I can go over other things that the tritone represents. I would recommend that you stick with, that you kind of just stick with using it as a dominant chord. I have a question from my member. Oh, well, before I address the questions, let me go ahead and finish this training, and then I'm going to come to some of these questions. Okay, so let me finish this training first. And the fifth interval could represent the major or the minor. So let's say I had a voicing that went like this, which is a really nice sound, right? So the question would be, Sean, I want to play this, but I want to use what you said, only 2 notes in the left hand. So this will be your dominant chord. This is a type of major chord. The 6/9 is a type of major. Okay. So according to the chart, the dominant chord in the middle, I would need a tritone for that. And you already, because of the chart, you know exactly what notes to use. And then here's the major chord. Okay, so let's replace this. What do I place? So instead of playing this A flat, I just play the C and the F sharp and the C, because because of, where is it? Because of that. Because over A flat, where is it? A flat says A flat and C, or C and F sharp. All right, so y'all see the A flat there, right? Because I'm trying to teach you guys how to. I just got a bunch of stuff now. It's all messed up. Anyway, so for my A flat chord, instead of playing this, I'm gonna just play the F and C. And then instead of playing this, I'll just play, I'll just play a fifth, because it says here that if I'm playing a major chord, I'm playing a fifth interval. So remember, a fifth interval in the left hand simply means you're 5. So I could actually play this as to represent a D flat major 6/9. See? because there's a B flat and an E flat, so I could just play this. So my left hand, I would have this, and then I would have this. That's it. And I can play that whole chord just like that. So check it out. Here's how it sounds. See, so that's how it sounds. So if the bass guy is going A flat, D flat, and you're wondering, what am I supposed to play? I don't know, the bass guy's playing it, and he tells me not to play the same thing he's playing. Well, if he's playing an A flat, you go to the chart, you play your F sharp and C. And when he plays his one chord, you can play your B and flat. But I prefer you to play the I prefer you to play the F and C. And the reason why, let me just get into this real quick before I go. The reason why I prefer you to play the F and C is because if you go back and you look at this chart here, no, where is it? Yeah, this one. Let me go, if you go back and you look at this slide that we had from earlier, notice that when you're playing a major 7 or minor 7, you're supposed to play the 3rd and 7th note. So since we're playing a major 7 here, the 3rd note would be an F and the 7th would be a C. So this would be the perfect 5th that you would play in your left hand. So it would really be this. See, that's how you'd play it. Right? And then if I want to do this, instead of doing this, I could play it with the tritone because the C's at the bass, and I just play that with the E and the B flat. This is representing an F chord because I can play a minor chord with a perfect 4th in my left hand. Remember, it's a 5th or a 4th. So this thing really goes deep, and I do want to just kind of tell everybody. Let me go and address some questions really quick. Let me see if there's anything left with this presentation here. Pair matching. We discussed the importance of pair match. Oh, we got an ear test. Yeah, because every week you guys on my website, you guys know we've been doing ear test every week. That's going to get your ear better. You want to get that ear up, remember, because you use your ear not only to hear chords, but to play chords. So that's important that you get your ear up. So let's do an ear test real quick. All right. Are you ready for an ear test? Yes, we are. Okay, so now we are about to do an ear test. This ear test training, man, these trainings are so important. And remember, I just want to remind you, we have an ear test for each one of these lessons. Right now, we're doing the last one, but we did all these types. And if you understand these at a deep level, understand all of these, not only do you understand what you're doing when you're playing, because that's that thing, man. We all want that confidence. We want the confidence to understand what we're doing when we're playing. But that means you have to understand at a deep level. And then don't forget, you got to practice, because just listening to stuff and watching stuff won't make you a better person. You have to actually find a way to implement this stuff. So let's go into the training here. And what I want you to do in the chat is to let me know if you're hearing a perfect 4th, a perfect 5th, a tritone, or neither. Here we go. Here's the first one. Please say P4, P5, tritone, or neither, or just put 1, 2, 3, or 4. Put 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat. What do you hear? We're on an ear test training. Okay, Maurice says 4. Colin says 1. Lydia says 5. One of my members says 4. All right, here's one more time. Here we go. And here is the answer. The answer is, this is a perfect 4th. Yeah, man. All right, let's try another one. All right, go back to the ear test. All right, next one. Okay, here it is. What's this? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Is this a perfect 4th, or perfect 5th, a tritone, or neither? Although you are correct, your ear has to hear the root note. We're assuming that the bottom note is the root, right? And this is the reason why in my ear training on my website, I have people distinguishing. They have to sing the bottom note, like sing the bottom note for me, because this could be a perfect. I'm not gonna say what it is because then that gives it away. It just depends, but it does depend, right? Here is the answer. I got these answers everywhere, man. Here's the answer. The answer is where's my video? I don't know what happened to my video. Here it is. The answer is perfect fifth. All right, for those of you who got it. Now, I'm not just gonna make this easy. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play full chords, and I want you to listen to the left hand. Because if all I did was just use tritone, perfect fifth, perfect fourth, you'd get that simple. What you got to do is you have to be able to hear it in the context of actual chords. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a whole chord, but in my left hand, I'm only going to use 1, 2, 3, or 4. Are you ready? All right. Left hand, I'm only going to use 1, 2, 3, or 4. Here we go. Left hand is only playing 2 notes. Left hand is only playing 2 notes. And these is a real life training because it's the kind of stuff you would have to figure out yourself. But if you can figure out what's happening in the left hand, not only is it going to help you, but it's going to give you a clue to the whole chord. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Look at your commenters so you guys can see which ones are getting them right afterwards. All right, I'm ready to show the answer. Here's the answer. The answer is, there's the left hand there, tritone. This is a tritone. That's helpful for me because if you can hear, now check this out. This is where the ear training is where we get advanced. If we know that the left hand's playing a tritone, then we know that it's most likely a dominant chord. So that's how Sean would say, oh, that's a dominant chord, because he's going to hear the tritone. He only has to hear 2 notes. He doesn't have to hear this whole chord. He just has to hear 2 notes. It's much easier doing it that way. Let's try another one. Okay, I know what I'm going to do here. Here we go. Perfect fourth, perfect fifth. I'm really tricking you with this one. This one's a trick. 1, 2, 3, or 4. I got numbers all over the place right now. I'm revealing the answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The answer is neither. I had this spread in my left hand here. Listen to it. Very difficult one. Let me try one more, and then we'll stop it after this. And then you guys have been great today. Let me go back on here. All right. What am I playing with? I'm gonna play a progression in my left hand here. So tell me what I'm playing. I'm gonna play a progression in my right hand, but my left hand is gonna play this thing. Okay. Here we go. Here we go again. What's my left hand playing? 1, 2, 3, or 4? KV, you're supposed to be telling the whole group, man. You're talking to me direct. All right. Here is the phrase for all of you who got it. Tritone. Yeah, man. All right. Hey, folks, it's been great, man. Been great seeing you guys again. I want to thank you guys for coming. This has been it's been amazing, and I'm going to go ahead and address my members who are on Zoom now. If you join us live, thanks again for coming. This is the end of our course. I decided to make the last lesson in this course free so that everybody can see it. I may keep it up for a couple of days on YouTube. Don't know how long I'll keep it up. So if you have access to it, you can come back to it, refer to the chart. If you're a member, you're going to have all 10 of these that are all as one course, so that you're going to, definitely get those. So thank you again. I'm going to go ahead and stop the live once I figure out how to do that. Oh, here we go. Thanks, everybody. We'll see y'all later.